Ils sont par dizaines à crier à la discrimination sur la place portuaire du Douala. Mesdames et messieurs, vous faites bien de regarder le 13h. C'est le journal bilingue. Good afternoon, Regina.
Bon après-midi, Robert Charles Itok. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for taking the rendezvous with us on this edition of the bilingual newscast on Canal International. We are coming to you live from our studios in Douala. Our top stories this day. His son was killed and a home set ablaze. And there's been panic and consternation in Pendamboko, southwest region of the country after the industrial manager of the CDC was kidnapped. His son was killed and his home was set ablaze. In Muyuka, there have been mass arrests following the gruesome murder of a woman on Tuesday plus.
Alors que les cœurs sont encore meurtris par la scène horrible du meurtre par décapitation de la fille à Muyuka, Jean-Claude Silla raccroche son bâton de commandement des suites de maladies. Ambiance dans les services de la préfecture ce matin, c'est dans ce journal bilingue.
And the premises of the Douala Port Security have been invaded this morning by some youths who are protesting against a discrimination in the recruitment process. We shall be bringing you details in this newscast. Once more, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this edition of the bilingual newscast on Canal International. That has been panic, consternation, and fear in a small locality known as Pendamboko in the southwest region of the country after armed men reportedly attacked the industrial unit manager of the CDC on Wednesday night. The armed men shot dead a Form 5 student living in his compound and later burned his house and his vehicle. The industrial manager, Ali Malex, was equally kidnapped in the process. The reasons for the arrest the reason for the attack is not known. It is reported the military arrived at the scene when the armed men had already left and investigations have now been opened. And trickling reports getting into our studio also talk about mass arrest that is currently going on in Moyuka, southwest region of the country after the brutal murder of a woman in that part of the country. Eyewitness accounts speak of people running helter-skelter, some hiding on rooftops and other under their beds. Today's operation comes after the killing of a lady on Tuesday suspected of conniving with the army against separatist fighters. We will definitely be bringing you details of this story in the subsequent edition of our newscast. And the president of the Center for Human Rights and Democracy in Africa, Barrister Felix Agwonkongo, has condemned in very strong terms the recent murder of a woman in Moyuka. In his word, he said, quote, "We cannot be killing the same people we claim we can, or rather we want to liberate them from the yoke of dictatorship." He was speaking to a reporter in Boya, Ines Ondwambala, in the following excerpt.
It's inconceivable that this is a struggle that we are trying to come out from the yoke of the Biya dictatorship. The things that we are condemning the government, we are doing it on our people. You know, between May and August, we have documented at least 10 gruesome killings, torture, extortion, you know, done by non-state actors against the people, the civilians of the southwest and the northwest regions. As you speak, we just issued a 7-page report on these atrocities, and we don't condone violence, be it committed by the non-state armed groups or by the government. Or, you know, there's entire need for the human rights of the civilians should be respected. Yes, we are going through a crisis, we have a conflict, we have what they call it a war. It doesn't stop the fact that rules should be respected. The basic Geneva Convention talks about what we're supposed to do and what we're not supposed to do.
And the Anglophone detainee who died while being changed to his hospital bed has begun his final journey home. The remains of Mr. Tangem Thomas were removed from the Yaoundé Central Hospital and later conveyed to his native Nkambe in the northwest region of the country. Now, the population has continued to decry the gruesome circumstances under which he died. Our reporter Hyson Chair was at the Central Hospital and brought back this report.
Lamenting in tears, family members, friends and well-wishers were out in their numbers here at the Yaoundé Central Hospital mortuary. Many yet to come to terms over the death of Tangem Thomas. It is a bitter pill to swallow for the family given the pathetic scenario surrounding Tangem's demise. Besides family members, defense lawyers remain bitter over the situation, especially given the fact that Thomas spent over 4 years in prison and was never tried until his sad departure.
We don't know why he died. We don't know why they caught him in the first place. Why was he caught? Why was he caught? Was he part of this struggle? We say no. But he found himself in it without knowing. Just since he has died for the cause, by implication, according to them, the struggle continues.
A brief prayer here, committing Thomas' soul to God and seeking God's protection of the family as they departed with immortal remains to his native Nkambe village, Donga Mountain Division, Northwest Region, where he will be laid to rest on Friday, August 14, 2020.
Words you've done for me. You were the living God. There ain't no one like you.
May he rest in peace. In one of our top stories today, the premises of the Douala Port security have been invaded by some young people who are protesting a recruitment process they describe as discriminatory. They are insisting they must be integrated at all costs. More in the following report with you, Gladys Ambo-Zibang and Emmanuel Bivrika.
It is a decision that has been widely applauded. In a communique from Cameroon's Prime Minister's office on August 11, 2020, the government announced that it was withdrawing the decree on the classification of 2 forest management units in the Ebo Forest in Nkam and Sanaga Maritime divisions. For the local indigenous population who have been protesting the creation of the FMUs, the decision is a sigh of relief.
We are happy, and we thank the head of state for taking this decision, which is for us a good decision. Just yesterday, people were so glad. All over, it's not here in Douala, Yingi, Nituko, Dikinimeki, all over you can find by name, people can be found.
The government decree of July 14, 2020 had legalized 68,000 hectares of virgin forests for logging. A decision that has sparked an outrage, provoking dozens of petitions against the move globally with good reason. The richly biodiverse Ebo Forest is one of the last intact forests in Central Africa. It is home to the rarest subspecies of the Nigeria-Cameroon chimpanzees that both crack notes and fish for termites. The people say the decision of the government will now accelerate a movement of the Baneng people who want to return to the ancestral land.
This
is time for the Baneng people to go back home. It is also time for the government of Cameroon to fulfill its promise made 55 years ago to accompany our people who were forced to leave to go back home. Greenpeace Africa, reacting to the new stance of the Cameroon government, said, quote, "We remain vigilant in supporting community rights and participatory land use planning." It should be recalled that in 2006, the Cameroon government launched a plan to transform the Ebo Forest into a full national park, but the plans for several years had been stalled. It is a wish of many conservation organizations that the government of Cameroon takes up the plan to provide a safe haven for the endangered species found in the Ebo Forest.
That was rather a report detailing the cancellation of 2 logging concessions in the biodiversity rich Ebo Forest located in the Sanaga Maritime Division and in Camp Division in the Liswa region of the country. We'll now take you to the top story of today, which talks about how the premises of the Douala Port security has been invaded by some youth who are decrying a recruitment process they say was discriminatory, and the young people have insisted that they must be integrated at all costs. Once more, Gladys Ambodibang and Emmanuel Birika.
This is a sign that these young men and women are unhappy. They have since this morning organized a sit-down strike at the premises of the Douala Port Security to express frustrations over their non-integration into the company after succeeding in a recruitment test.
But when we came here, they assured us, they make us know that there is a formation in front of us that at the end we are going to go through it. We went through the formation, some of us passed, some of us failed. The people that succeeded in passing, at the end, they did not call them. Our main problem here is that we want to work because we cannot go back home. We have abandoned our family. We have abandoned so many where we came from. We want to work. They cannot allow us and look for the children of the bosses, the children of the big people, and keep us the poor. They should look for solution. We want to work. That's our problem.
They claim they were poorly treated during the pre-employment phase, yet they were optimistic that despite all odds, they will be integrated, just like some of their peers who succeeded in the test. The protesters add that amongst these youths being trained, some did not sit for the test and were recommended by their godfathers. All attempts to get to management of the Douala Port Security react to the allegations was futile.
Restons toujours dans ce mouvement d'humeur. Ils étaient assis par dizaines à même le sol et revendiquent leur intégration au sein de la Douala Port Security. Ces jeunes dont l'âge moyen est de 25 ans disent, au-delà des promesses faites, avoir réussi avec brio toutes les étapes des tests pour obtention du précieux sésame. L'emploi direct est grande est leur surprise lorsqu'au finish, ils sont écartés au profit d'autres jeunes. Une situation à l'origine du mouvement observé ce matin. Quelques jeunes ont bien voulu s'exprimer au micro de notre envoyé spécial, Emmanuel Bivika. Nous les écoutons.
Ça fait déjà 1 an. Certains ont déjà 1 an, d'autres 9 mois. On nous a fait comprendre qu'après le projet, on va tous travailler à DPS. Aujourd'hui, nous allons tous compétir, nous sommes passés par le recrutement, nous allons tous réussir. À notre grande surprise aujourd'hui, on nous a fait comprendre qu'on devait passer à la formation à la dernière vague. On appelle certaines personnes, on n'appelle pas d'autres.
On a fait 1 an sous le soleil, sous la pluie avec eux. Maintenant, ils ont fini d'appeler leurs enfants pour que nous rentrions au village. Ça veut dire quoi?
Ils nous ont promis après que dès que le projet se réalise, dès qu'ils finissent leur projet, ils nous intègrent directement dans Douala Port Security. Mais à notre grande surprise, on lance le concours. Le recrutement, en fait, ils ont lancé le recrutement. Ils nous envoient les SMS, vous devez compétir avec les autres, avec les externes. On n'a pas refusé, malgré qu'ils nous avaient promis qu'on devait nous déverser directement. Nous sommes partis, on a fait le recrutement. Nous avons réussi ce recrutement. Malgré qu'on travaillait, encore moi, j'ai travaillé cette nuit-là. À 5 heures, je suis allé courir, compétir avec les gars qui sortaient d'ailleurs, qui étaient prêts. Nous, on n'était pas prêts parce qu'on travaille. Ici, on travaille comme les animaux. La condition humaine, eux, ils ne connaissent pas ça. Nous voulons nos places parce que nous avons réussi et ils ont enlevé nos noms dans les listes. Ils sont venus avec leurs enfants, les enfants des grands du pays. Ils sont venus avec eux. Les gens qui n'ont pas fait le recrutement, ils sont là, ils font...
Qui habite aussi les Yaoundéens depuis hier. Un baron de la préfecture est tombé. Jean-Claude Silla, le préfet du Foundi, est décédé à Yaoundé des suites de maladie dans son lieu de service ce matin. C'est une ambiance morose. Toute la tristesse se lit sur les visages de ses collègues. Mettons le cap sur Yaoundé, précisément à la préfecture, où se trouve actuellement notre reporter Arnaud Ngefak. Bonjour Arnaud.
Bonjour, c'est un calme plat ici à la préfecture du Fundi. Normal, la morosité tient son sens au deuil qui a frappé la maison hier. Le maître décéant, le préfet Jean-Claude Tila, est décédé de suite de maladie, apprend-on. Pas plus de précision jusqu'ici. Le personnel, avec en tête le premier adjoint, porte le deuil à sa manière, englouti par la tristesse dans les bureaux. Les bureaux du préfet décédé ont déjà été scellés comme requis par les usages en pareille circonstance. Jean-Claude Tila est à la tête du département du Fundi depuis 2010. 10 années de fonction là qui malheureusement finissent de manière inattendue. Préfecture du Fundi, Arnaud Gefak, Serge Alain Ziebou.
Merci Arnaud Gefak. Restons dans cet élan de douleur et revenons sur ce meurtre à Moyouka. Ce sont des images de l'horreur. Elles font le tour de la toile depuis 24 heures. Celle de l'assassinat froid et brutal d'une jeune femme dans la région du sud-ouest, égorgée par des présumés séparatistes. Elle était accusée par ces derniers d'être un traître. Aimé Catherine Moukouri, Joseph Wapon reviennent sur ce décès tragique. À Maroua, parlons maintenant du désordre urbain observé dans cette ville. L'occupation anarchique de la chaussée du trottoir est le sport favori des usagers de la route. Pas un pas sans être frappé par ce comportement qui est à l'origine de nombreux dégâts collatéraux. Le préfet du Djamaré, Jean-Marc Ekwambaga, appelle à la responsabilité des exécutifs communaux. Joseph Wapon, Amino Alioum pour les précisions.
Le désordre urbain prend des proportions inquiétantes dans la ville de Maroua. Il s'agit de l'occupation anarchique des trottoirs et autres espaces de la voie publique par les commerçants et vendeurs à la sauvette. Le maire de la ville de Maroua est monté au créneau pour décrier cette situation et appeler les populations à plus de civisme.
Les actes administratifs d'urbanisme et le plan directeur d'urbanisme de la ville de Maroua appellent à une reprise en main des trottoirs, des emprises de trottoirs pour que les voies soient dégagées.
De plus en plus, les conducteurs de tricycles, de voitures et autres camions n'hésitent pas à circuler et à garer où bon leur semble dans les artères de la ville de Maroua, causant de nombreux accidents sur la voie publique. Une situation qui n'a que trop duré selon les autorités de la ville. Pour le préfet du Djamaré, il est temps que les usagers de la route reviennent dans de meilleurs sentiments.
Chacun ne peut pas choisir de s'installer où il veut. Sinon, ce sera complètement un désordre qui ne permettra même plus aux populations de pouvoir vivre à l'aise dans leur ville. Donc, c'est d'abord une responsabilité des municipalités. Les maires doivent être extrêmement rigoureux là-dessus.
Avidons à tous ceux qui continuent de poser des actes traduisant le désordre ou l'occupation anarchique de la voie publique. La sonnette d'alarme est ainsi lancée.
Toujours dans l'extrême nord, les expropriés pour des raisons de travaux publics de la route Ngoro sont désormais dans leurs droits. Ils ont été indemnisés mardi dernier grâce au fonds débloqué par le chef de l'État, Paul Biya. Le préfet du Djamaré, une fois de plus, a coordonné ces opérations. Il y a 7 autres annonces, Amino Alioum pour les précisions.
Le préfet du département du Djamaré, en sa qualité de président de la commission ad hoc chargée des indemnisations des populations victimes de pertes de droits fonciers et de destruction de leurs biens dans le cadre des travaux de construction de l'axe routier Maroua-Bogo, se trouve ici à Bogo, accompagné des membres de la commission pour rappeler aux personnes victimes que le président de la République, son Excellence Paul Biya, a débloqué une enveloppe de plus de 407 millions de francs CFA pour les indemniser.
Nous sommes venus effectivement pour payer ces indemnisations. Chacun va toucher son argent tel que le Premier ministre l'a mentionné.
Cette somme d'argent est destinée à 149 personnes ou familles ayant leurs biens au bord de la route en chantier. Le paiement se déroule sous le regard du Lamido, chef du village de Bogo.
C'est ces gestes qui nous indemnisent et vraiment qui va nous permettre de remettre nos biens en place.
Les populations n'ont pas manqué de remercier le chef de l'État pour cet élan de solidarité.
Alhamdulillah.
Vous êtes satisfait, monsieur?
Oui, Dieu merci pour cela.
Oui, je suis satisfait.
Le préfet du Diamaré donne un délai aux personnes indemnisées pour libérer les lieux.
Je ne souhaiterais pas que d'ici la fin du mois de septembre, que les gens me disent encore, monsieur le préfet, accordez-nous encore 2 jours parce qu'il y a eu telle ou telle situation. Je ne souhaiterais pas.
Les travaux de construction de la route devront reprendre d'ici le 1er octobre 2020.
And some primary school teachers have protested before the Ministry of Basic Education. They're denouncing a recent recruitment exercise which they say didn't favor them. They're calling on the head of state to intervene in their matter as they say age is not on their side. Our reporter, student journalist on internship, Linda Kenye, brought back this report.
Barefooted sitting on the floor, these primary school teachers are advocating for a total reconsideration of the list of recruited teachers published by the Ministry of Basic Education, a list they consider full of irregularity.
We discovered that there was a lot of irregularities that were not in our favor. For example, you will see people who have old KPMs, they are aging out, then the government is doing nothing to recruit them, but they're recruiting people who have just graduated from the teacher training. So we begin to ask questions, where are we going to? And he said he was going to recruit those who are aging out, that are almost going to 40 years. And those who had KPM area, those were the 2 conditions we took note of. But when we saw the result, it was a cacophony justification.
After several meetings and consultations with the minister and the prime minister, these teachers decided to go on strike as their grievances were not taken into consideration.
Forthcoming that we are here at the basic education. As we are here, we are not going to live here till we have a solution. We don't even need promising. We need concrete solution in our problem, so much so that we can be recruited.
Information from the Ministry of Basic Education is that recruitment were done in respect of ages, durability of teacher certificates, and in respect of the regional equilibrium. After receiving 36,000 candidates, the ministry selected 3,000 candidates who were in line with the desired criteria. Launched in 2019 by the Ministry of Basic Education and funded by the World Bank, this 4-year program were in order to fill the gap of the limited teachers in our nursery and primary schools, and also to give a chance to holders of teachers training certificates already approaching 40s.
And we stay in the nation's capital, Yaoundé, where some 264 newly graduated police superintendents and their assistants have pledged to face the current security challenge in the country. Now, they made the pledge while graduating after 2 years of study at the National Advanced Police School in the nation's capital, Yaoundé. More in the following report with you, Haisantia.
The 264 superintendents and assistant superintendents of police were decorated by the General Delegate for National Security, Martin Bargangele. The 2018-2020 contingents were equally handed attestation of success with the best laureates of the badge given special recognition. Now full-fledged superintendents and assistants, but it hasn't been a smooth ride all along.
My training for 2 years was quite tough, but we were able to make it, both physically and intellectually.
Leaving the National Advanced Police School Wednesday, August 12, they reiterated their readiness to face the present security challenges within the country.
Today our country needs people ready to face the challenges. As you can see, we are ready, we are apt to go on the field and to face all challenges, to make national security's image go higher and higher again.
Their 23 months of training was focused on broad spectrum courses, technical and vocational training. Receiving their attributes this day, they will henceforth be responsible for administrative and judicial police missions, command and supervise police inspectors and constables.
And on to this obituary where the senior divisional officer for Fundi in the central region of the country is no more. Jean-Claude Silla died on Wednesday night. The senior civil administrator was admitted at the Yaoundé Emergency Center after he suffered from a stroke. And a Pentecostal church still in the nation's capital that was closed for not respecting COVID-19 barrier measures in place has opened a new branch in the nation's capital. The people in the new neighborhood are complaining of nuisance as the church is always open 24/24. More in the following report with Beatrice Ngamo.
1 week after the auditorium Tabernacle of Liberty at the Simeon 3 neighborhood was sealed by the Yaoundé 3 divisional officer following instructions, the inhabitants seems tongue-tied to tell us the climate now.
Days like Sundays, the services start from 6 to around 10 in the night, and it really disturbs because the noise, the speakers are too loud. You can't even study at night, you can't sleep, you can't read, and they do this every day.
A great nuisance. I don't know if it is Cameroon or we are in hell. The pastor started with the church. We did not rest. Now it is in the school. Where is Paul Biya? We are suffering. Their prayer is fire, fire. Moving from the sealed church to the open school, no one to talk to us. But inside, we can get the habitual fire, fire sounds and prayers. This neighbor braved the odds to decry their plights. The rumor around, which comforts the faithfuls, yet annoys the neighbors, is that things will return to normal soon. The divisional officer was here, and it is said he asked them to stay calm, as in 1 month it will be reopened. The auditorium, Tabernacle of Freedom, is sealed due to the fact that the pastor preaches against the respect of the COVID-19 preventive measures to the extent that students whose parents worship in the church prefers to sign document exempting 3 of their children from writing the BPC examination on the pretext that COVID-19 do not have any impact on them as God is in control. An insult which the government did not take lightly.
En sport, le comité d'organisation locale de la Coupe d'Afrique des Nations 2022, le championnat d'Afrique des Nations 2021 s'est réuni hier en session extraordinaire au Palais polyvalent des sports de Yaoundé. Les présidents des comités de suivi, que sont les gouverneurs des régions et aussi les maires des villes de Douala, Limbé, Yaoundé, Bouéa et les présidents des comités de site y ont pris part sur la férule du ministre des Sports et de l'Éducation physique. Il est question de relancer en les intensifiant les activités découlant de leurs prérogatives respectives. Je vous propose d'écouter Narcisse Mouelekombi au micro d'Alain Gisèle-Kanga et de Bertrand Tassé.
Nous avons invité les différentes structures opérationnelles techniques du COCAN à une montée en puissance. Chacun dans son domaine de compétences, chacune de ces structures dans son domaine de compétences, afin que nous puissions garantir l'atteinte optimale de 2 objectifs majeurs. Le premier objectif, c'est celui d'une bonne organisation du CHAN en janvier prochain sur l'ensemble des sites. Et le deuxième, c'est celui d'une participation glorieuse, victorieuse de notre sélection à prime à cette importante compétition continentale.
Toujours en sport, le Paris Saint-Germain a rejoint les demi-finales de l'UEFA Champions League 25 ans après. Ce succès inespéré, les Parisiens le doivent en grande partie à Éric Maxime Choupo-Moting, le capitaine des Lions indomptables sur le banc de touche. Au coup d'envoi, s'est mué en sauveur en inscrivant le but de la victoire face à l'Atlanta de Bergame. Un scénario incroyable qui a ému les fans et les supporters depuis le Cameroun. Max Chouamo, Joseph Wapon pour les Viltailles.
Le capitaine des Lions indomptables a procuré de la joie aux fans du PSG au-delà des frontières. Héros inattendu, Éric Maxime Choupo-Moting permet au Paris Saint-Germain de rejoindre les demi-finales 25 ans après, au bout de 10 minutes de folie. Tout commence pourtant mal pour le Camerounais qui assiste impuissant depuis le banc de touche à l'ouverture du score de l'Atalanta Bergame, plat du pied imparable de Pasalic à la 26e minute de jeu. Neymar et les Parisiens jouent de malchance jusqu'à l'entrée en jeu de Choupo-Moting